Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to cross the Øresund once again and we're going to go back to Copenhagen in Denmark. As I've told you many a time, one of the best beer cities in the world and arguably the best craft beer city in Europe at the moment in fact. So for this one we're going to go back to a brewery who you've seen me review maybe 5 or 6 different beers from, but they're always very good when it comes to the New England style IPAs, and it's one of those that we are going to have a look at today. So this one is the Atom from Gamma Brewing Company, who are from Gurløse, just a little bit to the north of Copenhagen itself, and it's an IPA coming in at 6% ABV. This one is apparently hopped with Citra, Mosaic and Enigma. So, you know, Citra and Mosaic have been around for a little while. You know, Enigma has a little bit as well, but it's only just kind of starting to get used more widely over here in Europe. It's a lovely hop from Australia that has some of these grapey notes that you would expect of Nelson Sauvin, and also some red berries and stuff like that. It really is very nice in fact. So really looking forward to trying this one. I've always enjoyed the IPAs that I've had from Gamma Brewing, and I've heard that this is another pretty damn good one. Incidentally, this is yet another beer that I bought from Kiosk over in Copenhagen, and I highly recommend you check them out if you get the chance. If you make it to Copenhagen, go into the shop. If you're from elsewhere, you can check out the website. I'll put the link to their Facebook page in the description below. At the same time that I bought this one, they did have a double IPA which was released at the same time, but this one, you know, I chose this one because I really like the artwork on it. If you've watched the channel before, you'll know that I studied chemistry and astrophysics, and I really loved atomic spectrometry and spectroscopy and things like that. You know, quantum mechanics and things was really where my interest lay, and I just absolutely loved the artwork on this one, so that's why I picked this one over the double IPA. But yeah, let's get on to the actual review itself then. So as is usual with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we open up the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Gamma Brewing before. No doubt I will add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Gamma Brewing Company then, on to my brewery notes. So Gamma Brewing Company was founded back in 2014 by 4 friends in Copenhagen that were bartenders in the various craft beer bars around the city, and basically they used to talk about how cool it would be to have their own brewery before they went and did it. But they have since kind of taken in another co-owner, and so the team at the brewery now are Jakob, Anders, Jesper, Koy and Nick, but they all had a little bit of home brewing experience. 2 of them worked in Ulsnedkeren in Copenhagen as well, and they were the ones who purchased the former Stronzo brewery in Gurløse, a little bit to the north of the city, and this later of course became Ølkollektivet. So apparently they were invited to join Ølkollektivet, and they got a really good deal on a 20 hectolitre tank, and they started the brewery without any experience of running their own company. But this went really well for them though, and they've expanded twice, and they're now producing around 500 hectolitres of beer per year, and they're exporting to Germany, the Netherlands, and of course over to here in Sweden as well. But one of the co-owners is also a co-owner of the Mig and Ulsnedkeren bar in Aarhus as well, which is on Ølands, the kind of mainlandy part of Denmark, the bit that's attached to Germany. And I do apologise again in this video if any of the Danish pronunciations aren't quite right. It's difficult to get that throaty thing with Danish. But Ølkollektivet, is home to Ulsnedkeren, Gamma Brewing and Dry and Bitter, 3 of the really well-known breweries in Denmark these days. Gamma and Dry and Bitter, of course, are really well known for the hazy IPAs. Ølkollektivet, they do a load of different things. I've noticed they've been playing around with fruit beers and sours in recent times as well. So definitely 3 breweries that you need to check out. Ulsnedkeren also brew the Bad Seed beers under contract, from what I gathered as well. Ghost Brewing and Rooster were also involved at Ølkollektivet for a period too, but they have since moved on. So I think at Ølkollektivet it's Gamma. It is at the moment just Gamma, Ulsnedkeren and Dry and Bitter as well. So yeah, 3 breweries that you really need to check out if you are interested in Danish craft beer. I always make an effort to get one of the latest beers from these guys when I head over to Copenhagen. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. That's all you really need to know about the brewery. Check out the brewery website and Facebook pages and stuff like that in the description below, and you can keep up to date with all the latest goings on there. But yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open up. You can see with the heat we're having here in Sweden at the moment, the beer is sweating a little bit. It's only been out of the fridge for about 5 minutes, but yeah, really is sweating there. The artwork on this I think is awesome. It really reminds me, you know, it really just reminds me of the kind of Terminator eye a little bit, but scatter diagrams and stuff like that. Like I said, I used to study chemistry and astrophysics, and atomic spectroscopy was one of my kind of favourite areas, like measuring the light and things out of stars and then figuring out what the star's composed of. That was what I used to do in astrophysics. I absolutely loved doing that sort of thing. It's really interesting to date the universe and stuff like that, see how old different stars are and where they've come from and things like that. You can find some really interesting stuff there. But anyway, that's enough about science. 440ml can, this one. So let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. As I told you at the start of the video, this one is a 6% IPA, hopped with Citra and Mosaic from America, and Enigma, which is an Australian hop. Citra of course gives you the lovely kind of mangoey notes. Mosaic is more of a kind of tangerine orange, while Enigma is, you know, it's got a little bit of that kind of Nelson Sauvigny grapey type thing, but then some kind of red currant, red berry sort of things in it too. But yeah, really curious to see how this beer turns out. We can get rid of the brewery notes and things for the moment then. So yeah, as you can see with this one, it's poured a lovely kind of bright yellow colour. Oh, I've spilt a little bit on the side there. But yeah, it's poured a lovely, quite bright yellow colour. This one, as you would expect from a New England IPA, this one pretty much just looks like pineapple juice or mango juice or something like that. If I put my fingers behind the glass, this beer is absolutely haze for days, or crazy hazy, however you want to call it. You can see there's a half finger of a frothy, I would say perfect white head on this one. It maybe has a little bit of a creamy tinge to it, one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall, looks pretty much as you would expect from a New England IPA. So let's take a closer look at that aroma then and just see how we get on. Ooh, that smells pretty good. I mean, straight away, the two things that are jumping out at me with this one are the mangoes, which will be from the Citra, of course, as I mentioned earlier, but also some of those kind of green grapey notes that you'd expect from Enigma. It's interesting, this one. I really like how this is going together. The aroma here, it does have a little bit of sharpness, I think, from the wheaty side of the malt base as well. So yeah, some nice white grapey notes coming out of it. You can pick up the sort of red berryish qualities as well. Interestingly though, I'm not getting too much of the orangey notes that you might expect from the Mosaic. You can get a little bit of them. If you take in the aroma a little bit more deeply, you get the nice oily, well, not oily, more of a juicy tangerine. So if you want oily orange, it's more Amarillo you should use. But you definitely get a nice little bit of that orangey quality if you take the aroma in a bit more deeply. There's maybe a little bit of that kind of blueberry complexity that you can expect from Mosaic as well. You can usually pick that up in the taste. But yeah, some nice red berries, white grapey notes, a little bit of a kind of gooseberry lychee note, which again is one of the complexities that you can get from Citra. There's a whole host of fruitiness going on in this one, and some of it is really subtle, so you do need to take a little bit of time and just, you know, focus on the fruity side of the beer actually. But yeah, with this one then, on the green side of the hops, I would say this one's leaning towards the floral side of things. It does have a good little bit of floral spice to it. I think that's one of the kind of traits you can expect with Enigma, if I remember correctly. I remember it is a little bit more of a spicy hop, but at the same time you can get some of that from Mosaic, and indeed Citra has its own kind of floral quality as well, but I think Enigma is the one that's given it that slightly more kind of spicy quality in terms of the green side of things. Yeah. The malt base in this one then, I can smell rather, not feel, I can detect a little bit of the kind of wheaty qualities pushing the way up. I've always found that when there's wheat in these beers, it does almost just smell a little touch sharper in the malt base. You can pick up a little bit of a creamy note coming out of this one too, from the oaty side of things. And you've also got that nice little touch of biscuit in there as well. But to me, the malt base in this one is leaning a little bit more towards the wheaty side of things too. But overall, a really, really nice smelling beer. This one, quite floral and wheaty, this one, compared to other New England IPAs, but the complexity of the fruits in this, for me, is what kind of makes it stand out a little bit. So as I always say, take a bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in, but we're going to try this one now and see how we get on. This one is the Atom, a New England style IPA coming in at 6% ABV from Gamma Brewing Company in Gurløse, just outside of Copenhagen in Denmark. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. yeah, that's another really pretty damn good New England IPA, I have to say. Thumbs up to Gamma Brewing for this one. Not surprised at how good the beers are that these guys are producing. You know, this is really good stuff. I like this. This one, interestingly, I like how the hops in this are going together, because, you know, all of these hops, Mosaic always gives you a little touch of earthiness, and you can pick that up in this one. Enigma, I think, is giving you a slightly more kind of grassy, spicy note. So you've got a really interesting, kind of unusual combination of hops in this one, I think, or at least at the moment. I'm filming this review for you at the end of July 2019. So to me, at the moment, this is quite an unusual hop combination, and it's putting some really interesting, a really kind of interesting slant on the beer, actually. But yeah, I like how this one goes together, actually. I'd be curious to know what yeast they're using in this, actually, because it has a little bit of that kind of smoothness and creaminess that you'd expect of like a Lallemand or a London Fog, something like that. But it does have a little bit of the kind of herbally, almost vegetal notes. It has got a little bit of a balance in there. It's got a little bit of that kind of thing that you'd expect from the yeasts that you're getting used in New England, like some of the farmhouse New England IPAs, actually, the likes of Heady Topper and stuff like that. So they've got a nice balance here in the middle of the palate too. But in the middle of the palate, you can definitely feel that nice, smooth, white bready, wheaty quality blanket in the middle of your tongue. The further you go into the aftertaste, it will dry out a little bit. You'll start to get some kind of grainy notes in there. There's a little touch of there's definitely a little touch of a sort of grainy, bready quality to the beer as well, a little bit of bread crust or something like that. You can feel the nice kind of creamy, oaty qualities in there as well, and in the very centre of your palate you can pick out a little bit of a biscuity sweetness as well. So I mean, the biscuit is very subtle, I'd definitely say that about this beer. But it's mainly the malt base in this one really is quite smooth, and I like the little subtleties that the yeasty side of the beer is giving it too. So there's a lot of complexity to this one. Just be aware of that when you try it, actually. This is a really solid beer, this one, and I like the way that the malt base and the yeasty qualities just all blend together in this one. So thumbs up to Gamma Brewing Company for that. Hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you've got a little bit of that earthiness in there. As I said earlier, that comes from Mosaic. Mosaic always has that little bit distinctive earthiness. As you come further forward along the side of the palate, that smooths out a little bit. You get a nice little bit of floral aromaticity in there. And then round the very front curve of the tongue, you've got that lighter, kind of grassy quality pushing its way out of the beer as well. Yeah, now I like the fruity side of this beer. It's interesting how it goes together, in fact. So behind the front curve of the palate, as I always say, you get that little oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. So at the very back of that fruity bubble, for me there's a little tiny touch of grapefruit, and depending on what you mix Citra with, you will get a little bit of grapefruit out of it. When you come in front of that, you get some nice juicier mangoes in there. Coming further forward from that, you start to get the orangey qualities and the sort of white grapey notes from the Enigma. It's difficult to place exactly. I think when you come forward from the mangoey notes, that, and just in front of that, that's where the sort of white grapey notes from the Enigma are coming out, and then beyond that, that's when you start to get the juicier tangerine qualities out of this beer as well. So for me, on the fruity side of things, there's, if you go to the very tip of your tongue, you're starting to get some of the red berryish qualities in there. Is it like red currant? I don't know if it's quite cranberry, something like that. You've definitely got a little bit of that red curranty quality in there. You can pick out a little bit of an almost gooseberry note, which is one of the complexities that you'll get from Citra, and almost just in the very front tip of your tongue, right on the very edge, you can pick out a little bit of blueberry, which is one of the complexities that you can get from Mosaic. This is just, you know, there's a hell of a lot of complexity to this beer, both from the yeast side of things. I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe 2 different yeasts they're using in this one, because it's got elements of both, you know, as I said, the Lallemand and the London Fog, and then the New England farmhouse yeasts. Yeah. It's got a good level of complexity. You've got different things going on with the hops. And the sort of earthiness that this beer has mixes in well with that more herbally, vegetally kind of thing that you're getting from the yeast in this one, which is interesting. But the fruity side of this beer also offers a good little bit of complexity as well. This one reminds me more, this one to me comes across as being a little bit more farmhousey than some of the other things I've had from Gamma Brewing Company before. But I really like how everything goes together in this one. To me, this kind of feels like they've decided to take a more farmhousey approach rather than a creamy approach to their New England IPAs, and that works just as well. I really like how this one's kind of come across. I wonder what the reason was for naming it Atom. I wonder if there was a specific reason for that, but there was nothing listed really on their website or anything about this. So it used to be a session IPA, this, incidentally. I did find on Untappd, when I stuck it into Untappd just to look at the ratings of it, the one that came up was a 3.5% session IPA. So there has been another Atom beer from Gamma Brewing Company before, incidentally. I should have said that earlier in the video. But yeah, it's a nice IPA, this one. And if you like the more farmhousey New England IPAs, you will enjoy this one. But if you want one of the creamier ones and things like that, I wouldn't recommend this beer. I would say try one of the other Gamma Brewing ones. The Guap is the one that comes to mind. That was a really lovely beer, in fact. In terms of the mouthfeel then, definitely it's a mid-bodied beer. Carbonation's quite smooth. Yeah, nice little bit of a, you know, it's mainly a creamy mouthfeel, this one, although it does have a little bit of graininess to it as well. So not the creamiest of New England IPAs that you're going to come across, but quite a creamy and smooth mouthfeel. In terms of IBUs, I think this is your kind of standard 25-30 IBUs, this beer. Nice bit of smoothness in the malt base as well. Not too sweet. There's a little touch of biscuit there in the aftertaste, but mainly it's quite smooth. This one, a little bit grainy going further in, and some juicy fruity qualities to this beer as well. But overall, a really interesting one from Gamma Brewing Company. And I'm glad that I was able to review this for you. So let's leave it at that. This is the Atom, the 2019 edition of the Atom, a 6% New England IPA from Gamma Brewing Company. A little bit more farmhousey than some of the other ones I've had from these guys, but a really interesting beer nonetheless. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Gamma Brewing Company as well, and I'm sure I'll catch you guys very soon with more beers from this brewery, because I always make sure to try and review things from them. So until the next time, Slàinte just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slàinte, Skull, Camp High. Make sure you check out some beers from Gamma Brewing Company. Cheers.